Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back again with another stock market video. Today I'm going to be doing an analysis, review, and price prediction on Nikola stock, the car maker company that has made quite the headlines, both on the negative side and on the positive side. Now, I'm not going to lie, there are some pretty serious red flags that have been raised, in my opinion, in the last few weeks for Nikola as a company and as a stock. I should also mention that all the opinions in this video are my own personal opinions. They're not recommendations to buy or sell Nikola stock or any other stock. They're just my own personal opinions and not financial advice, so please make sure to trade and invest at your own risk. Right now, Nikola stock is sitting around $36, has a market cap of $13.29 billion, and there are some concerns that came up after their recent earnings here. Now, there's several things right now that are going on with the company, but one of them is their increasing loss, right? If you look at the last few quarters, we've gone from, losses of around $17 million to 65 to now 85 plus million dollars in loss, right? I mean, just their latest earnings was a loss of $86.6 million. And what also came out, which was even more concerning, was that their only small bit of revenue, really a negligible bit of revenue, $36,000, came from a solar installation that they did for the chairman of the company itself. That's not what you want to see. This is a massive red flag in my opinion, and obviously people have gotten up to this. This is actually the #1 trending post on the stocks subreddit. So a lot of people are concerned about this. I personally don't hold any Nikola stock, but if I was a shareholder, I'd be concerned. Now, $36,000 in revenue, right, from a job that they did for their own CEO is nothing. You combine that with the $86 million loss, and then you go back and look at the actual market cap of $13.29 billion. There's some problems going on here, right? I really feel like I'd be surprised to see it not drop lower from here. Now, I will say nowadays, with people, pouring money into stocks at all-time highs, even when they're completely overvalued, you never really know what's going to happen, especially in the short, medium term. It could go up more, right? It could go back up to $50 before it starts falling again. So it's very hard to make those calls, and that's why, shorting a company like this can even be risky. I've heard some people mention that, and I think it's true. We've seen that with Tesla and many other stocks out there, where at times they were completely overbought, and people kept on buying more, right? So you need to be very careful when calling tops, at the very least, for stocks like this. Right now, based on the current numbers we have, I think that it's hard to even justify a $10 million or $5 billion market cap, even a $3 billion market cap for Nikola right now. So in the future here, in the next 6 to 12 months, we want to see more concrete results, because right now, you could just take a look at that Reddit post that I was talking about. One of the big concerns is the fact that they don't actually have much concrete and factual things out there, right? They have a lot of concepts and promises and ideas, and a lot of photoshopped images, as I saw one person mention, which is true. That's actually one of the things that struck me when I saw their website a few weeks back, was it looks really good, right? It looks really cool, but is any of this stuff actually in production? And that's not the case. None of their things are actually in production. They barely even have prototypes for some of their things. So a lot of red flags, right? I mean, this is one of the most popular stocks on Robinhood. If you know anything about that, that tends to be a bad sign, because most of the top stocks on Robinhood are doing very poorly, right? On their way to bankruptcy, so to say. And I'm not going to go through the entire list, but all these things, and just a few that I mentioned, are enough to really be concerning in my opinion, right? I would not buy Nikola stock personally right now. And I could not justify myself jumping into the stock before I would see some very concrete things out there in production and being ordered. And also, just the revenue numbers, right? This is just not okay in my opinion. $36,000 from a job for their own CEO. It's not justifiable at all. So that is, very brief overview of the fundamentals, right? If you look at the website, like I said, bunch of cool stuff, bunch of cool designs, but a lot of Photoshop pictures and not a lot of actual cars being built, up and running, being bought and in production, right? So once again, you can only get so far with all these Photoshop pictures, right? I mean, look at this one. It looks horrible. it's this is what happens, right? People, once they see the actual numbers come out, start to get worried of what's going on here, and I totally get that, right? So once again, these are just my personal opinions. If Nikola is able to get moving on some of these things, right, like their jet ski and everything, it could be really cool, and they could actually do well. But I think they need to start consolidating and focusing on getting some of these things out, instead of being sort of a jack of all trades that's producing nothing really, right? Because if they just got some of these things up and running correctly, right, like even their jet ski, they could make a lot of money from that, I think. So that is sort of the positive side of things, and the things maybe to look forward to if they can happen. But right now, I think you really need to approach this with a bit of a 6-foot pole, unfortunately. And that's just to kind of show you a very quick overview of the website and how you need to have a lot of ideas, concepts, and nice images. But if you take a deeper look, right, these things aren't actually up and running by any means whatsoever. Now, I'll go ahead and take a look at the chart as well. We're going to do a quick analysis on this also. Now, obviously, we've got a massive pullback, right? That's actually a good thing. Is the pullback over? Definitely might not be. So we could drop more from here. We are indeed, still downtrending, and that could continue, right? We could honestly go back down all the way to $10 in my opinion, all over again. Right now, I'd say that things are looking okay on the chart, right? We have the pullback that was significant. That's actually a good thing, right? We were all the way up to $93 at the high. That was completely ridiculous. Even when we were at $75, way too high still. So we're getting back to more reasonable levels. I'm not even sure if this is reasonable enough. Like I said, I mean, this going back right back to where it started at $10 would be fairly reasonable, right? Or at least $20, because even right now at around $40, that's still a bit high in my opinion. If this thing makes its way back up to $40, $50 and stays above there for now, I still think that's too high. With that being said, we do have an open gap now right here around this $45 area that should need to be filled, but we'll see if that happens more quickly. That would actually be a bad thing, I think. If we're to get a quick spike up back to $50 and then pull back again, that will close the gap, but it'll also leave us to fully being ready to move lower again. Whereas if we move lower from here, then we have that target level that we can reach once things are looking better for the company. Makes a lot more sense long term, right? If you look at the MACD, massive downtrend that we had here in the last few weeks, trying to cross back over into the green. We'll see how that looks. Like I said, I'm just very cautious right now. I'd like to see this thing stabilize, and preferably at some lower prices, right? Somewhere between $20 and $30 would be much more reasonable already. So you got to keep all these things in mind. It's really a balancing act. As far as in the future, how high could the company go? Once again, we're going to look back at that market cap, right? That is one of the best indications to see if things are getting out of hand or not, or if things are even undervalued. Right now, that's definitely not the case. We're definitely not undervalued. We're absolutely overvalued, right? Overvalued based on promises and hype. So I think that this needs to move back down, right? Move back down more towards $5 million at least. And that'll mean, getting the price of the stock, basically slashed in half probably. But it could stay propped up much longer than expected. Or even, the entire time. We could stay right here at $35 just because people are still holding the stock up based on the hype. And, eventually they should be able to get things, looking up to par and getting things moving. But that's never a guarantee. And, like I said, it's a balancing act. It's a matter of realizing the risk reward, right? Which as the price decreases, that risk reward increases. So like I mentioned, right, when we were at $75, that was, completely out of hand because that risk reward was just horrible, right? You have an extremely high stock price and valuation, nothing to show for it. And look at what happened, right? We saw the literal drop that we're talking about now. So if this decreases down to 20, 15, horrible case scenario, $10, then, as that price decreases, the risk reward becomes better and it makes more sense to jump into the stock and with better hope that you can actually make money. Whereas, if you're getting in at these crazy high prices when the hype is at a maximum, then really most of the time the only direction after that is much lower. So hopefully this gave you some good insight on, similar companies to this maybe in the future that might be showing some similar signs of a lot of hype and not that much to show for it. I will say there's, a lot of these sort of electric vehicle companies that have had various levels of success. Tesla obviously being the most successful, but if you look at Workhorse Group, this is one that I like more than Nikola. The valuation is better. I don't own any shares of right now, but the price is better. The valuation is better. They have actual things that are up and running as of right now, actual cars being produced. And, that is what I want to see, right? If you look at Nikola in comparison, that's when you start to see the, hype really coming into the light and how things have gone a bit out of hand here, I think. And we're going to probably see a correction in the coming weeks to months. I do hope that they can get things working and that we can see some of these products that look really cool, like this jet ski. Like I said, if they can even get a few of these in production and getting these distributed, then they'll be on their way to success. But until then, you really need to be careful here with what's going on, I think. And once again, please keep in mind, these are just my personal opinions, not financial advice, not a recommendation to buy or sell Nikola stock, just my own personal opinions and not financial advice. So trade and invest at your own risk. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for live market updates. I'll leave a link to that in the description of this video. And also make sure to check out my technical analysis master course. You can find the link to that as well in the description box of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Nikola stock down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and have a great day. I'll see you next time.